Welcome to King Spotlight. This week we're once again joined by head Monarch football coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for being with us again today.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, you had a bye week. Kings was a week off after playing Misericordia 2 weeks ago. And this week you had a chance to travel to FDU-Florham in Madison, New Jersey, where you are the Devils' homecoming opponent. Let's take a quick look at the bye week, though. What did the Monarchs accomplish in the bye week? I'm sure you got some rest, but I'm sure you were able to accomplish some things as well.
Yeah, the main thing was, to get some rest, get some guys healthy. I mean, we had some guys playing, they weren't able to practice fully, each week leading up to it and got themselves ready to play in the game. And you start that cycle and it eventually builds up where, they're getting more and more, limited. So the guys that were kind of beat up and banged up, we were able to, not do anything with them, and then that helps us get more reps for the younger guys that develop depth and get them ready, because we have a really good core of young guys that we like, and the more and the faster we can get them up to speed with everything, is going to help us. So we got a chance to get a lot of reps for our young guys in there and kind of work on things that have been going well for us, just so we can continue to execute those at a high level, and then work on some things that haven't been as good for us that we feel we need to help us win these in our last 4 games from there. So it's always good to kind of take a look back at what you've done in the first 6 games of the year and build on that in the bye week and get some young guys some more reps and rest the guys that were beat up.
Well, Coach, Kings enters the game with a 3-3 record and are 3-2 in the MAC after beating Misericordia 2 weeks ago. FDU, meanwhile, is 2-4 overall and 2-3 in the MAC after losing to Albright this past weekend. But FDU's been playing pretty well. They got a big win over Lycoming 2 weeks ago, which was probably the Devils' first ever win over the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean they're playing really good football, much improved from overall. I mean last year they played us hard and maybe outplayed us. They created turnovers, and we had to go to overtime from there. And the thing watching them there is how resilient they are. They jumped all over Wilkes. Wilkes comes back. It takes the lead, but FDU doesn't flinch or anything, and they find a way to get a stop on 4th down, deep in their own end, and then do a 2-minute drill and score with 3 seconds left. And then they were down, I think, 21-8 to Lycoming, and usually, Lycoming can close the door on those things, but FDU, never wavered, never quit, and kept battling, and then they get a stop, and then they drive down the field and kick the game-winning field goal. So they're showing tremendous resilience. Guys are flying around. They got guys making plays. So they're playing very good football right now.
Well, FDU offensively, they've evolved in the last recent years with a spread offense, and they've really been putting up some passing yards on the offense. They're only averaging 16.7 points per game, but they're 3rd in the MAC in passing yards at 257 yards a game. But they're only averaging 70.5 rushing yards. So talk about that spread offense.
Yeah, I mean, they got, it starts with your quarterback. He's a good-looking kid. He's tall. He throws the ball well. I mean, they get the ball, out quickly to their guys, and then they have 2 guys. So, sometimes in the past, they only have, really one guy to go to. So if you can shut him down, their answers were limited. Now they have, 2 guys that are dynamic playmakers that can, make plays against anybody, in the MAC from a passing threat. So you see, that level of their play, be totally elevated from there. And then I think their style of play, they don't run it, as much as they throw it. So their running stats are a little bit deceiving. But the one thing they have is they the one back, they have his big back, number I think 34. He runs hard and he's downhill, and he's made some plays, running the football, and they've gotten some key runs to help keep drives alive. So, their offense is, functioning on a high level, and it starts with the quarterback who gets it, knows where he's going with it, and gets it out extremely quickly.
Well, the 2 receivers you're talking about is sophomore Mike Panzarino, who has 44 catches for 477 yards, and also Eson Mobley, who has 33 catches for 494 yards. Talk about those 2 guys, what they are style-wise. Is one a bigger guy than the other? Is one a quicker guy than the other?
They're both almost like the same. To me, watching them on film, the same thing. They got really good speed. But the thing we like about them the most is their body control. Like they go up and attack the football, and they keep their body in control to make tough catches. I mean, they throw, they run a lot of takeoffs and things and throw it up there, and they're saying my guy can go make a play. And those 2 are able to go make plays, and they've made plays. And then they run pretty good routes. You start doing that, and they're able to break it off on a dime and cut underneath and catch the ball that way as well. So they're athletic, they got good speed, and their body control and the way they attack the football is really good to see.
And the running back that we were also talking about earlier, his name is Robert Young. Well, he doesn't have a lot of carries. He only has 67 on the year. He has 335 yards and has scored 3 touchdowns, so he has been productive when he's running.
Yeah, I think more like, that stat of their, whatever they get a game rushing is more predicated on, the type of offense that they have. But when they dial him up, he's delivered. And that's the key, is that, you can't go in there thinking, FDU doesn't run the ball or can't run the ball. They very well can run the ball, and they choose when they want to do it, and they've been very productive from that deal. So we have to be, prepared to be able to stop, the running game and try to keep them, one-dimensional, so that we have a chance to, defend their 2 receivers and try to get some pressure on the Q and everything.
Do you need to do anything a little bit defensively, playing a team that runs the spread? Do you have to change your personnel at all? And what kind of discipline does your team really need to have in a kind of a defensive effort like this?
The difference is the discipline, which our kids are working on and improving. And again, since we're more of a spread team now with what we're doing, our kids are seeing it in practice a little bit more to be able to prepare from there. But it comes down to the discipline, because the quarterback, in some of the run game, he'll pull it and run. So we got to make sure, we have the guys for the tailback, guys on the quarterback, make sure we're, defending the pass and winning the one-on-one, matchups, with the receivers, from that deal. So it's about your keys, and then executing them and just doing your 1/11th, and then communicate with each other, so that we're all on the same page, defensively, and then execute when you have an opportunity to make a play.
Well, while the FDU offense is ranked 3rd in the MAC in passing yards, your offense at Kings is ranked 1st in the MAC in passing yards. If we take a look at the FDU defense, they're 9th in MAC scoring and allowing 37.5 points per game, and they're also 7th in total defense. So what type of things do you think you're going to be able to do offensively against FDU?
For us, again, still look to have balance. From there, we kind of ran the ball, and again, with us transition from pro style to the spread, it's how can we run the football, from that deal, and then it's a learning process for the coaches and the players, and some runs that are more pro style may not fit the spread, and some do, and figuring out what fits us the best, and we kind of hit on some of those things the last, over the last course of the time, and be able to get a little bit better running the ball. Ran the ball pretty well, against Misericordia, 2 weeks ago. So we got to be able to try to establish the run. But, again, we are throwing the ball, first, and so we have to execute that at a high level and be able to continue to, to move our offense by throwing the football is what we do. And then when we run it, we have to execute it and be successful in there, because that's going to help move the chains, make it easier, to throw the football. So we need balance, but we're still, passing is what we do the best, and we got to be able to execute that at a high level on Saturday.
The junior quarterback, Zach Whitehead, is continuing to enjoy a good year. After last week's game at Misericordia, he was the Conference Player of the Week. And right now, he is 37 completions away from breaking the school record of 185 completions set in 2010 by Corey Lavin. And we have 4 games to go. So Zach has obviously had a good year. But you have to be pleased with the balance of the offense, particularly in the receivers. We have 3 guys that have caught at least 30 passes, and 9 different players have caught at least 8 passes this year.
Yeah, and I think that's the key to why we're having success. One, Zach works tremendously hard at being a good quarterback, and he's improving every week, and every week he's learning, and things are slowing down more and more, and then getting with the spread is you're spreading people out and you're creating matchups and things. So if they want to take somebody else away, you have to be able to go to other people. So it can't just be, hey, throw to your best receiver and everybody else gets the crumbs. We have to definitely be able to distribute the football, and that's the thing that Zach's done a really good job of. And it helps us attack defenses when you can get 3 guys with 30 catches. It's hard for a defense to figure out a way to stop 3 guys. So they may take 1 guy out, but then that's going to open up for 2 guys. And again, like 9 guys, having multiple catches, we're able to distribute the ball, and that's on Zach, because he goes through the progressions and the plays we have, and he's not trying to force things or get caught up in one guy that this guy's the guy I need to go to. He's willing to take what the defense is giving him, and he's operating right now at a high level.
And finally, Coach, talk about the depth of the team on both sides of the ball, both offensively and defense. You play a lot of players, so that has to make you feel good about long-term of the program, but also moving ahead into the season where you're playing a lot of teams that do play up-tempo offenses, and you have the opportunity to play a lot of people to stay fresh. Yeah,
I mean, we want to try to play as many guys that proved us that they're varsity ready. Some of the injuries and stuff have forced us to play guys because of that. But then the positive is that they're getting, varsity reps, getting a chance to play in games, and that's going to, and like I said, bode well for the future. But at the present, that helps us as you get down the final stretch when, the wear and tear on guys from there, and the last thing you want to do is have to turn to a young guy who has not a lot of reps and expect to operate at a high level. So us be able to get a multitude of guys in the game on both sides of the ball will hopefully help us pay dividends as we go down the stretch. And we play 7 JV games, so they're getting a lot of chance to play a lot of football, which helps the young guys develop. And at this time of year is when we start to look for the young guys that get into the 2 deep to be able to spell guys, to help us to the gap, if somebody goes down, the gap between the next guy and the guy that went down is a lot smaller, and you can still operate your offense, your defense, your kick game at a high level. So we're, again, pleased with how our young guys are responding and developing to give us that depth to play as many guys as we can to find a way to win on Saturdays.
And the last question, Coach, you're playing in New Jersey. It is homecoming for FDU, and you also have 32 New Jersey players on your team. So surely our guys making sort of a homecoming of their own back to New Jersey is going to equate to a lot of emotion in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's all really good when you get a chance, to be able to go back home with kids and have so many kids from a state. New Jersey's a talent, rich state in high school, and then so everyone goes there to recruit. We're not that far from any point in New Jersey, so we make an emphasis. We cover every county, in the state, and the kids we get here, are good football players, and and they're very prideful of where they come from. So they're looking forward to to going back to their home state and representing themselves and King's College, in a positive way. And then the key, what we've talked to them about, is just to keep that their emotions in check and be a positive, and not just get so geeked up that they're back home, that they lose composure. We stress on that we have to play with great composure, on Saturday, to have success. So that's the thing there. But we're excited, to get to New Jersey for these kids to come home and represent, their family, their home state, and represent Kings and play to their ability on Saturday.
Well, Coach, that's all the time we have for today. So thanks again for being with us, and good luck to you and the Monarchs on Saturday when you travel to FDU-Florham for a 1 p.m. kickoff.
All right, thank you very much.